on the Zoom and share it yourself. I'm starting the session now. I've gone live. Hare Krishna. So we welcome everyone for today morning discussion and reading from teachings of Chaitanya, the Golden Avatar. A new day, a new beginning. Allow me to just unmute, mute everyone. All right, let's offer prayers together. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunivadi Vashatai Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gautase Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Go Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. I guess you want to, it's too bright. Thank you all for joining in. We'll start not from this side, largely from that side. Bring it to the middle. We'll start our journey today with Srila Prabhupada's book titled as Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Let me see if screen is visible. Where is the screen? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare. All right. So that, okay. So there's not much to show on the screen, but we'll do that gradually. So we are starting with Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and today's subject matter is Prologue. We have already discussed preface in a last-minute announced class, so we didn't went online with that. So we'll be reading from a prologue, which is actually based on Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writing. This account originally appeared in a short work by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur entitled Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and Precepts. Before I move forward, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his life is kind of divided into three stages. Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, and Anti Leela. It'll be nice if you guys want to see what I'm going to show to be logged in. So you'll be able to memorize and map it properly if you all see that onto your Zoom screen. Or else you can sit together. So many people are going to log in here. Maybe who knows, the internet slows down. Just sit together in pairs and then see it. 3, 4 people can see that. Adi Leela is from the time of Lord's appearance till the time he took sannyas, which is at the age of 24. And then Madhya Leela is from the age of 24 up to the age of 30, 6 years of his travels to South India, Vrindavan, etc. And Anti Leela is from the age of 30 up to his, concluding his pastimes during his incarnation. That's Anti Leela. So let's read. So how do we do? Okay, yeah, that's introduction. Let me go to the next slide. Oh, there's no animations here. Fine, no problem. I thought I would have animations. So this is his Adi Leela here. And now we'll read, and you can map it with what happened at what time of year of his life, okay? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, was born in Mayapur in the town of Nadia just after sunset on the evening of the 23rd Falguna, 1407, answering to the 18th of February, 1486 of the Christian era. So this timeline which I have prepared here is based on this particular writing of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It'll be easy for you to memorize. The moon was eclipsed at the time of his birth, and the people of Nadia were then engaged as usual on such occasions in bathing in the Bhagirathi with loud cheers of Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. His father, Jagannath Mishra, a poor Brahmana of the Vedic order, and his mother, Sachi Devi, a model, good woman, both descended from a Brahmana stock originally residing in Sylhet. Is our Blue Ridge group there?
Yes.
We just message or you call them up? Mahaprabhu was a beautiful child, and the ladies of the town came to see him with presents. His mother's father, Pandita Nilambar Chakravarti, a renowned astrologer, foretold that the child would be a great personage in time, and he therefore gave him the name Vishwambara. The ladies of the neighborhood styled him Gaurahari. These are different names given to Lord Gauranga on account of his golden complexion. And his mother called him Nimai on account of the Nimba tree near which he was born. Beautiful as the lad was, everyone heartily loved to see him every day. As he grew up, he became a whimsical and frolicsome lad. After his fifth year, he was admitted into a Pathshala where he picked up Bengali in a very short time. Most of his contemporary biographers have mentioned certain anecdotes regarding Chaitanya, which are simple records of his early miracles. It is said, now this is the first 4 years of his life. It is said that when he was an infant in his mother's arms, he wept continually. These are childhood pastimes. And when the neighboring ladies cried, Haribol, he used to stop. Thus, there was a continuation of the utterances of Haribol in the house, foreshowing the future mission of the hero. It has also been stated that when his mother once gave him sweetmeats to eat, he ate clay instead of the food. And his mother asked for the reason. He stated this as every sweetmeat was nothing but clay transformed. So here, right in the beginning, Gaur Hari was debunking the Mayavad theory even before his Pathshala began. And he said, well, everything is same. Tato asmi, I am that. So the clay is nothing, the sweet is nothing but transformed clay. So I eat clay or I eat sweetmeat. How does it make a difference? Because same. Tat asmi, I am that. His mother, who was also the consort of a Pandita, explained that every article in a special state was adapted to a special use. Earth, while in the state of a jug, could be used as a water pot, but in the state of a brick, such a use was not possible. Clay, therefore, in the form of a sweetmeat, was usable as a food, but clay in its other state was not. The lad was convinced and admitted his stupidity in eating clay and agreed to avoid the mistake in the future. In other words, just like the properties may be same. The fundamental elements, earth, water, fire, ether, that represents the properties are same. But when it takes different shapes, it has different utility. That's Achintya Bheda Tattva, quality and quantity. Another miraculous act has been related. It is said that Brahmana on a pilgrimage, this is Gopal Brahmana, became a guest in his house, cooked food, and read grace with meditation upon Krishna. This looks tricky. In the meantime, the lad came and ate of the cooked rice. The Brahmana, astonished at the lad's act. This is Old English, so a child has been said as a lad. Okay? Lad's act, in case you're not aware of the word lad. Cooked again at the request of Jagannath Mishra. I will call it the child. Lad sounds like so harsh. The child again ate up the cooked up rice while the Brahmana was offering the rice to Krishna with meditation. The Brahmana was persuaded to cook for the third time. This time all the inmates of the house had fallen asleep, and the child shewed himself as Krishna to the traveler and blessed him. The Brahmana then lost in ecstasy at the appearance of the object of his worship. It has also been stated that two thieves stole away the child from his father's door with a view to purloin his jewels and gave him sweetmeats on the way. This is another pastime. The kidnapping of Nimai. The child exercised his illusory energy and deceived the thieves back towards his own house. The thieves, for fear of detection, left the boy there and fled. Another incident, another miraculous act that had been described in the child's demanding and getting from Hiranya and Jagdish all the offerings they had collected for worshipping Krishna on the day of Ekadashi. So they prepared a Hiranya and Jagdish, they were uncles for Nimai. They prepared a great feast. And they lived at a distance away from Nimai's house. Nimai was a small child and began to cry And parents asked Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata asked, what happened? What happened? And he said, I want to eat the feast cooked by our Harnamay and Jagdish. And the parents were surprised, oh really? How do the child knows what has been cooked so far away? And when they went to the house, they realized that they indeed had cooked a feast. When only 4 years of age, he sat on rejected cooking pots, which were considered unholy by his mother. He explained to his mother that there was no question of holiness, unholiness as regards the pot thrown away after cooking was over. These anecdotes relate to his tender age up to the 5th year. So it was if you look at the map, actually, I should have had animation. I don't know what happened. So these were discussed up to 4 years. If you have your book, now you can write down. So this helps you memorize. So from the second paragraph up to the complete, this is up to 4th year. You have discussion on the life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At the age of 5, he was enrolled in a Pathshala or Gurukul. Now we'll see what happens. In his 8th year, all of you got it? Where is the book distributor's book? Book है तुम्हारी? तुमने अनाउंस करा ना? नहीं, उसका बुक दो उसको. हमारे अनाउंसर भाई से उनका नाम लिखाओ, बुक दो सबको. जैसी करनी वैसी भरनी, राइट? खुशी खुशी अनाउंस प्रभु ने करा था ना. कोई बात नहीं, हम तुम्हें मोटिवेट कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, सबके पास अपनी कॉपी होनी चाहिए. TLC पढ़ो, मोबाइल से पढ़ोगे फायदा क्या फिर? You can use mobile only for the purpose of seeing the screen. Otherwise, everyone have a copy in your hand and read it. In his 8th year, he was admitted into the Tola of Ganga Das Pandita in Ganga Nagara, close by the village of Mayapur. In 2 years, he became well read in Sanskrit grammar. So from 4 to 6 approximately, or 5 to 7 approximately. His readings after that were of the nature of self-study in his own house. So in 2 years, generally 12 years it takes to study in master grammar. Nimai was expert in 2 years, where he had found all important books belonging to his father, who was Pandita himself. It appears that he read the Smriti in his own study and Nyaya also, in competition with his friends who were then studying under the celebrated Pandita Raghunath Shirmani. So from 5th to 7th year, effectively, if let's say 5th year he joined Pathshala, he went to Gangadas Pandit's Pathshala, learned grammar, and effectively from the age to 8 to 10, he did self-study and now became a scholar. Now, what happens after the age of 10? So you see the years in the map. 1486 he was born, 1491 he went to Gurukul, 1494 he is now known as a scholar, and 11 to 13 years was a time of tribulations. The crisis hit Nimai's family. What happens? Let's take a look at it. So this is your third part of his Adi Leela. Now, after the 10th year of his age, Chaitanya became a possible scholar in grammar, rhetoric, smriti, and nyaya. It was after this that his elder brother. So first thing that happened, the crisis that hit 11 to 13 was the in one way a very turbulent period. At this time, Vishwarup left the house and accepted sannyas ashram. And parents never ever got to see him again. Chaitanya, though a very young boy, consoled his parents, saying that he would serve them with a view to please God. Just after that, his father also left the world. His mother was exceedingly sorry, and Mahaprabhu, with his usual contented appearance, consoled his widowed mother. This is from 11 to 13 years, like this. And then 14 to 16 years, time for celebrations again, in the sense, at this point of time, Nimai Pandit is married. His first marriage happens. Let's take a look at the next timeline. It was at the age of 14 to 15 years, or 15 years, Mahaprabhu was married to Lakshmi Devi, the daughter of Vallabhacharya, also of Nadia, the renowned seat of Nyaya philosophy and Sanskrit learning. Not to speak of the Smarta Panditas, the Nyayikas were all afraid of confronting him in literary discussions. Being a married man, he went to Eastern Bengal. So this is the time when he went to Bangladesh, on the banks of the Padma for acquirement of wealth, which means he went and taught students there, not in search of wealth. They displayed his learning and obtained a good sum of money by teaching. That's the meaning. It was at this point that he preached Vaishnavism at intervals. Yet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has not manifested his original Leela. After teaching him the principles of Vaishnavism, he ordered Tapan Mishra to go and live in Benares. That's a very interesting point here. Tapan Mishra plays a very, very vital role in later on Pasana of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And during that visit, he instructed or asked Tapan Mishra to move from Bangladesh to Varanasi. During his residence in East Bengal, his wife, Lakshmi Devi, left this world from the effects of snake bite. On returning home, he found his mother in a mourning state. He consoled her with a lecture on the uncertainty of human affairs. It was at his mother's request that he married Vishnu Priya. I've just included a timeline. In the next slide, I have details for this age. Maybe let's see if there is something else on this slide. 1510, mid-Jan, Shri Krishna Chaitanya takes sannyas. I'm just going to go to the next slide. Next to next, actually not this one. Here, if you take a look at this sketch now, 1486, Adi Leela. We read about details of childhood pastime. Oh, watch out. This is, I've just given a summary here. So that's okay. I'll go back there. Somewhere I had included the details. Fine. All right. We'll continue the discussion. This slide is at least giving you some pictorial understanding. He married Vishnupriya, the daughter of Raja Pandit Sanatan Mishra. His comrades joined him on his return from Pravas or Sojourn. He was now so renowned that he was considered the best Pandita in Nadia. As that's the time, Keshav Mishra of Kashmir, he came, the famous pastime, who had called himself the great Digvijay, came to Nadia with a view to discuss with the Panditas of that place. Afraid of the so-called conquering Pandita, the Tola professors of Nadia left their own town on pretense of invitation. Keshava Kashmiri met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on Imai at Barokona Ghat in Mayapur. And after a very short discussion with him, he was defeated by the boy. How did the boy defeated Keshav Kashmiri? Anyone remembers? बोलो कैसे हुआ? मुस्कुरा रही है? केवल मुस्कुराए ना निमाय पंडित? ज्ञानी भाई साहब बताओ. Ganga. And in glorification of Ganga, our Keshav Kashmirji on the fly composed 100 shlokas. And then Keshav Kashmiri asked, so, kaisa laga? Nimai said, very nice. But somewhere, somehow on the 64th verse, in this particular line, in this word, you made a mistake. Now, Keshav Kashmiri spoke. He didn't memorize. Right? 64th verse? What was that verse? The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit recited the 64th verse. Well, ये तो मेरा composition है. I like that. All right. It was at the age of 16 or 17, he traveled to Gaya with a host of students. So, 14, if you take a look at the timeline again, 14 to 16 years, around 14 or 15, he got married with Mother Lakshmi Priya. And that's the time, within a short span of time, he went to Bangladesh. And then, while returning, it is around during that time, the Lakshmi Priya was bitten by the snake of separation, as soon as Radhanath Swami Maharaj explained, and she departed. And then somewhere at the age of 16 to 17, effectively, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was remarried to Vishnu Priya. All right, and this pastime of what you call as Keshav Kashmiri happened at the age of around 16. Now, when I said 1623, Sankirtan pastime begins, which means begins at the age of 1502, year 1502, according to Christian era. That means that around 16, all this is happening in the span of 1 year. Around that time, Nimai Pandit went to Gaya to perform the final rites, Pindadan, like that, for his father. Now, Sankirtan movement begins. It was the age of 16 or 17 that he traveled to Gaya with a host of his students, and they took his special initiation from Ishwarapuri, a Vaishnava sannyasi, and a disciple of the renowned Madhvendra Puri. Upon his return to Nadia, Nimai Pandit turned religious preacher. His religious nature became so strongly represented that Advaita Prabhu, Shivas, and others who had, before the birth of Chaitanya, already accepted the Vaishnava faith, were astonished at the change of the young man. He was then no more a contending Nyayika, or the philosopher, Nyaya philosopher, logic, a wrangling Smartha, and a criticizing rhetorician. He swooned at the name of Krishna, and behaved as an inspired man under the influence of his religious sentiment. Krishna, 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 Hari. Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Pahi Mam Krishna 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 Raksha Mam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Pahi Mam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Rakshamam. So this beautiful composition was also done around this time. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had written from Gaya. So when it says sooned at the sound or the name of Krishna, which means chalte phirte jagte sopte, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just chanted Krishna, 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 like this. It was at that time, sorry, no, I missed it. He soon had the name of Krishna behaved as an inspired man under the influence of his religious sentiment. It has been described by Murari Gupta, an eyewitness, that he shewed his heavenly powers in the house of Shiva's Pandit, which means showed his heavenly powers in the house of Shiva's Pandit in the presence of hundreds of his followers who were mostly well-read scholars. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do in the house of Shiva's Pandit? Batao. हाँ क्या लीला है लीला का नाम क्या है व्हाट इज दैट लीला इज कॉल्ड एज Mahaprakash Leela. Okay, that was the thing that happened. Mahaprakash Leela has been discussed. Therefore, you need to have a book. You don't even know the basics of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. What kind of Vaishnavas, devotees are we practicing Krishna consciousness? So, अब क्या नाम का बिल काटना मेरे सामने ये पढ़ो फिर चैतन्य चैतन्य सेट दिलवाता हूँ सपनों में. All right. It was at this time that he opened a nocturnal school of Kirtan in the compound of Shiva's Pandit with his sincere followers. There he preached, there he sang, there he danced, there he expressed all sorts of religious feelings. Nityanand Prabhu was then a preacher of Vaishnavism who had then completed his travels all over India, joined him by that time. Or at whose house did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu met? कौन जानता है इस प्रश्न का जवाब? At whose house Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu met? We have some hands up. Sorry, I couldn't see the screen here. How do I do that? Mother Chintamani, your hand is up. Go ahead. Unmute. Mother Chintamani.
Gopinath Acharya.
Gopinath Acharya. I believe it was Nandan Acharya's house, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, Nandan Acharya. Correct, Prabhu.
Yes. Hare Krishna. कितने लोग मायापुर गए? कितनी बार गए? 2 बार गए क्या? हिस्ट्री समझो. ठीक है. All right. There he preached. That how happened. Nityananda Prabhu met. Beautiful pastime happened. In fact, a host of Pandita preachers of Vaishnavas, all sincere heart, came and joined him from different parts of Bengal. Nadia now became the regular seat of a host of Vaishnavacharyas whose mission it was to spiritualize mankind with the highest influence of the Vaishnava creed. The first mandate that he issued to Prabhu Nityananda, this is all happening between 16 to 23H. Meeting with Nityananda Prabhu, starting the nocturnal pastimes, 24-hour kirtans, whole night kirtans, meeting with the Brahmana, or was that Brahmachari, milk drinking Brahmachari, everything. And now, before he goes to sannyas, then the non-cooperation movement, Chandakazi incident, all that happens. It's the most fascinating time. I believe Brahmachari should relish his era, 1623. It was full of adventure. 1623, incredible. Of course, after 24 is favorite for those who like to travel all over India. It's my favorite part also. But yeah, 1623 is fascinating part. All right. The first mandate that he issued to Prabhu Nityananda and Haridas was, go friends, go through the streets of the town, meet every man at his door and ask him to sing the name of Hari with the holy name, and you then come and report to me every evening the result of your preaching. That should be Brahmacharya life. Every day going out and doing something, not sitting at home for 10 hours, nothing. So we discussed it yesterday. We have to have a book plan now. Weather has improved. Every day I need to see all of you going out. Thus ordered, the two preachers went on and met Jagai and Madai, two most abominable characters. They insulted the preachers on hearing Mahaprabhu's mandate, but were soon converted by the influence of bhakti inculcated by the Lord. What are the names of Jagai and Madai after initiation? Raise your hand. Who knows? Who knows the name of Jagai and Madai after initiation? Oh, so sad, so bad. You have zero knowledge of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. All right. Jagadananda and Madhavananda. All right. They said Nimai Pandit is not only a gigantic genius, but he's certainly a missionary from God Almighty. Please bear that. This is the old English, okay? You might wonder what's going on here. From this time to his 23rd year, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached his principles not only in Nadia, but in all important towns and villages around his city. His followers of the town of Nadia commenced to sing the holy name of Hari in the streets and bazaars. This created a sensation and roused different feelings in different quarters. Now, this has never ever happened before in the history. The people on the street have come down. Ramanujacharya climbed up to the roof of the temple and he chanted loudly, Om Namo Narayana Namaha. And he gave the mantra and everyone chanted the mantra. He distributed the mantra freely. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought everyone and took everyone for Sankirtan. That has never happened. There have been no case of Sankirtan before. This created a sensation and roused different feelings in different quarters. All that casteism, understanding of caste, it just evaporated. Who's Shudra, who's Brahmana, who's Kshatriya, Vaishya, it didn't bother. Everyone was there holding hands and chanting together. The Bhaktas were highly pleased. The Smarta Brahmanas became jealous of Nimai Pandits. Now here starts boiling the problem. The Smarta Brahmanas, oh, this is disrespectful for the Brahmanas. How can Shudras hand in hand with Brahmanas dance? What about our dignity? We are respectable people. We have done great piety in our previous lives because of which we are born. We have privileged position. How can Shudras get privileged positions? The Smarta Brahmanas became jealous of Nimai's success and complained to Chand Kazi against the character of Chaitanya as an Hindu. So who was the one who actually instigated Chand Kazi? Or Hindu fellows only. It's pretty interesting aspect of a history that you need to see. Who brought the downfall of this country or this great nation was the people of this land only. People of this land only. Not from outsiders. What happened in Rajasthan, how the Thakurs collaborated with each other, against each other, not each other, against each other, not coming to the help of another Thakur and all that. Thakur, right? Rajput, sorry. My ears are buzzing. My head is also buzzing right now. I don't know what's going on with my ears. So yeah, Rajput. So that's the thing. Somehow, I don't know why, I have seen and noticed this. Our people, I'm not referring to devotee community, I don't mean that. And it could hold true here also in that sense. But we don't mind if somebody else succeeds, but we just become so jealous and insecure if somebody else from our community succeed. I don't know, it could be there in the Western mindset also. I have no idea, frankly speaking. It's a subject matter for worth investigating and thinking about it. If I get to know about it with my interaction with Western audience, then I'll let you know. I don't have an answer for that, but that's what it is. That's what we become. There is always a sense of I'm better than other. And particularly if that sense is sowed into your heart from the childhood with the fact that you are a Brahmana. Can you imagine how strong that identification would be? I'm a Brahmana, I am the best. Samishta Devyani pastime also that happens in the 8th and 9th canto is also the same storyline. It was Devyani, right? Who was a Brahmani. She thought, oh, I'm a Brahmani, this Kshatriyani, Sarvishta, how dare she speak to me like this? I am the best. This problem is there. The Smartas became envious. And they complained to Chand Kazi against the character of Chaitanya as un-Hindu. The Kazi came to Shiva's Pandit's house and broke a matanga and declared that unless Nimai Pandit ceased to make noise about his queer means time pass religion, he would be obliged to enforce Mohammedanism on him and his followers. This was brought to Mahaprabhu's notice. He ordered that the townspeople to appear in the evening. each with a torch in his hand. This groups, and on his arrival in the this groups, and on his arrival in the Qazi's house, he held a long conversation with Qazi. So the peaceful protest was first led by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The candlelight march, which is every week scenario in different parts of India and the world, was first led by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, non-cooperation movement. And then they all came to the Qazi's house, and then there was a long conversation. If you want to understand what Mohammedanism or Islam is, you can read that conversation. You'll understand what the details of the conversation between them, to understand what kind of understanding of religion is. The Qazi then wept and admitted that he had felt a keen spiritual influence which had cleared up his doubts and produced in him a religious sentiment which gave him the highest ecstasy. The Qazi then joined the Sankirtan party. The world was astonished at the spiritual power of the great Lord, and hundreds of heretics converted and joined the banner of Vishwambara after this affair. Now, this is coming close to 21, 22 years. It was after this that some of the jealous and low-minded Brahmanas of Pilya picked a quarrel with Mahaprabhu and collected a party to oppose him. Actually, this was the Gurukul students itself. Actually, let me read this and I'll give you the details. Nimai Pandit was naturally a soft-hearted person, though strong and expensive, but he declared the party feelings and sectarianism were the two great enemies of progress, and that as long as he should continue to be an inhabitant of Nadia belonging to a certain family, his mission would not meet with complete success. He then resolved to be a citizen of the world by cutting his connection with his particular family, caste, and creed. Very interestingly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, he then resolved to be the citizen of the world. Which means when you take sannyas, your identification with the body and the things to the body are demolished. Which means you don't belong to a particular family, you don't belong to a particular nation, you belong to a whole humanity. And how beautifully writes, he then resolved to be a citizen of the world. And with this resolution, he embraced the position of a sannyasi at Katawa under the guidance of Keshava Bharati. And that's what happened in 1510, as you see on your screen. His mother and wife wept bitterly for his separation, but our hero, though soft in heart, was a strong person in principle. He left his little world in his house for the unlimited spiritual world of Krishna with men in general. So here ends your Adi Leela discussion. After this begins Madhya Leela discussion in the short biography here. It was the students of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who actually got into a conflict with Nimai Pandit because he was chanting the names of Radhas and Gopis and saying, what are you doing? You're chanting the name of Gopis? Are Bhagwan ka naam lo. And Nimai Pandit got angry, he picked up a stick and he chased them. And then these people, can you imagine the students of whom? Not you and I. The very students of the Supreme Personality Godhead. Supreme Personality Godhead is always Supreme Personality Godhead, isn't it? Nimai Pandit showed his character in the performance, the pastimes later on, but he's always a Supreme Personality Godhead. So those students became envious of Nimai Pandit because Nimai Pandit chastised them. They thought, oh, how dare he chastise us? If ever again he picked up a stick, we will also attack back. Can you imagine? This was the thing that Nimai Pandit got to know of. He thought, oh, what hope is there for these living entities? If they happen to do something, who will save them? Let me walk away. This is your Kali Yuga products. So to say Arjuna surrendered, Krishna gave so much time, first of all ask yourself, am I Arjuna? Non-envious. Like this. Doesn't work like this. All right, now let's come to his sannyas pastime. So that is at 24. This is Madhya Leela. All right, good. We got some animations here now. After his sannyas, he was induced to visit the house of Advaita Prabhu in Shantipur. And who induced? Nimai Pandit, who as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was running to Vrindavan. Who brought him to the house of Advaita Acharya? Nityanand Prabhu. Chaitanya Prabhu said, oh, Nityanand, what are you doing in Vrindavan? No, sorry, that was nothing. Nityanand, what are you doing here? Prabhu, don't you know? You reached Vrindavan, this is Yamuna. And across the bank is your Vrindavan. Oh, what are you doing here in Vrindavan? I came behind you. I'll follow behind you. Chaitanya said, all right, let's board the boat. And they got on the boat and they crossed. And after reaching the place called Shantipur, Chaitanya said, well, this looks like a familiar place. I never knew Vrindavan would be so familiar, although I came for the first time. Then he saw Advaita Acharya, everyone. And Chaitanya Prabhu, oh, all of you also have come to Vrindavan? They said, we have not come to Vrindavan, we have come to Shantipur. And Chaitanya Prabhu was very upset, Nityanand Prabhu. All right. Advaita managed to invite all his friends and admired from Nadia and brought Sachi Devi to see her. So that's another very important point. This was the first time Sachi Devi met Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the last time she met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both pleasure and pain invaded her heart when she saw her son in the attire of sannyasi. Sannyasi Krishna Chaitanya put on nothing but a coffin and Bahir was outer covering. His head was without a hair, and his hands bore a danda and kamandalu. Only a mother whose son have done this can express the feeling of Mother Sachi. How painful it is for a mother to see a son shaven-headed. Now, if it is painful today, you can imagine how painful it would be in the past, because today's mothers still have hope. Ladka wapis aa jayega. Maybe he'll make a U-turn after his training is over. But then, once you have shaven a head, once you have adorned a saffron attire, there is no coming back. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this meeting with Mother Sachi said, Mama, not Mama, Mata mujhse galti ho gayi, I'm so sorry, in a spun of passion I did it. If you want, I can come back. And Mother Sachi said, no, beta. It's a culture of sacrifice. No, beta, we cannot have you back. You have taken this decision, live through this decision. My blessings to you. But my request is, you're so adamant to go to Vrindavan, but Vrindavan chale gaye, I would never ever get to know anything about you. Vrindavan, that Gopal, that Krishna is residing in Jagannath Puri forever as Jagannath. Why don't you go and live in Jagannath? Make Jagannath Puri as home base. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived in Jagannath Puri, following the instruction of his mother. Very interesting, huh? Very interesting. Today morning only I was thinking, can you imagine the Supreme Personality Godhead? The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam defines him Swarat, fully independent. What does fully independent means? Full independence means fully surrendered to the will of devotees. Mata Sachi said, go there. I mean, if you're trying to practice Krishna conscious culture, we want to embrace spirituality, we talk about entering Goloka Vrindavan, we all have to repeatedly ask this question to us on a daily and a weekly manner. How obedient am I? The things that I do in my life is because I have been instructed, or things that I do in my life because I like to do it, instruction or no instruction. That's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there. The holy son fell at the feet of his beloved mother and said, Mother, this body is yours and I must obey your order. Permit me to go to Vrindavan for my spiritual attainments. The mother, in consultation with Advaita, asked her son to reside at Puri so that she might obtain this information now and then. Mahaprabhu agreed to that proposition and in a few days left Shantipur for Odisha. It's a fantastic journey from Shantipur to Odisha. Many, many things happened like this. So arrived at Puri mid-Feb, mid-March. That was that when he reached Jagannath Puri. This is the time. Okay, the details now. We'll continue reading it. There are many interesting things happening here. All right. Mahaprabhu agreed. His biographers have described the journey of Krishna Chaitanya, and that was the name he got after his sannyas from Shantipur to Puri in Greater. Very fantastic journey. Yeah? He traveled along the side of Bhagirathi as far as Chatrabhoga, situated now in Thana, Mathurapur, Diamond Harbour. They took a boat, went as far as Prayaghat in Midnapur district. Then he walked through Balasore and Cuttack to Puri, seeing the temple of Bhubaneswar on his way. Upon his arrival to Puri, he saw Jagannath in the temple and resided with Sarvabhauma at the request of the latter. Sarvabhauma was a gigantic Pandit of the day. His readings knew no bounds. He was the best Nyaya philosopher of the time and was known as the most erudite scholar in the Vedanta philosophy of the school of Shankaracharya. This is also very interesting and fascinating. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't what is that? 9th chapter, verse number 1, right? Rajavidya Rajagayam Pavitram Uttamam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't dealt or spoke to any ordinary person. Ramananda was no ordinary person. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was no ordinary person. What is the name of sannyasi from Vanaras? Prakashananda Saraswati was no ordinary. He spoke to the leaders. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, was the leader of all at that point of time. He was the teachers of all the leaders of Shankaracharya Math. Everyone came at that point of time to Puri to learn about Shankara Bhasya. And at his house, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resided like this. Sarvabhauma was a gigantic Pandita. He was born in Nadia, Vidyanagar, and taught innumerable pupils in the Nyaya philosophy. He had left for Puri sometime before the birth of Nimai Pandit. This is about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. His brother-in-law, Gopinath Mishra, introduced our new sannyasi to Sarvabhauma, who was astonished at his personal beauty. Oh, Guranga, itna sab kuch bacha hai bhi. And feared that it would be difficult for the young man to maintain sannyas dharma during the long run of his life. Gopinath, who had known Mahaprabhu from Nadia, had a great reverence to him and declared that the sannyasi was not a common human being. On this point, Gopinath and Sarvabhauma had a lot of discussion. Had a hot discussion. Sarvabhauma said, "Oh, quote me a scripture. Where it is said in scripture, the Lord appears in Kali Yuga." And like this, there was a discussion. Sarvabhauma then requested Mahaprabhu to hear his recitation of Vedanta Sutras and later tactily submitted. Chaitanya heard with silence what the great Sarvabhauma uttered with gravity for 7 days. At the end of which the later asked, "Krishna Chaitanya, I think you do not understand the Vedanta. For you, do not say anything after hearing my recitation and explanations." That was the confidence of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Can you see that? With what a confidence he said, "अरे तूने कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं उठाया, समझ नहीं आया तेरे को मैंने क्या बोला है." और चैतन्य बाबा कहेंगे, "अबे तूने बोला क्या, तेरे को खुद नहीं पता, तो क्वेश्चन कहाँ से उठाता है, तेरे को खुद नहीं पता क्या बोल रहा है." Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the reply of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was that he understood the sutras very well, but he could not make what Shankaracharya meant by his commentaries. In other words, he said, "Sir, I know what is Vedanta Sutras, but I just can't understand what you are speaking," quoting Shankara's commentary. Sarvabhauma, "Hoy, इतने बच्चों को पढ़ाया है, इसने तो मेरी टीचिंग पे प्रश्न उठा दिया, मेरी टीचिंग मेथोडोलॉजी पे प्रश्न उठा दिया, कोर्स पे प्रश्न उठा दिया, सब जगह नेगेटिव फीडबैक आया है." Astonished at this, someone said, "How is it that you understand the meaning of the sutras and do not understand the commentaries which explain the sutras?" "All well. If you understand the sutras, please let me have your interpretations." Mahaprabhu thereon explained all the sutras in his own way without touching the pantheistic commentary of Shankara. So there is monotheistic, there is a pantheistic, and there is atheistic. Pantheistic means all is God. Everyone is God. Monotheistic is absolute truth. Atheistic is like you can say, there is no God. Like for example, Jainism and few other things which come Buddhism, sorry. Those are atheistic point of view. The keen understanding of Sarvabhauma saw the truth, beauty, and harmony of arguments and explanations given by Chaitanya and obliged him to utter that it was the first time that he had found one who could explain the Brahma Sutras in such a simple manner. He admitted, I guess I can stop my screen sharing now, it's not needed. We'll continue that later on. He admitted also that the commentaries of Shankara never gave such natural explanations of the Vedanta Sutra as he had obliged from Mahaprabhu. He then submitted himself as an advocate and follower. In a few days, Sarvabhauma turned out to be one of the best Vaishnavas of the time. When reports of this came out, the whole of Orissa sang the praise of Krishna Chaitanya, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds came to him and became his followers. In the meantime, Mahaprabhu thought of visiting southern India, and it started with one Krishnadas Brahmana for the journey. And South India Yatra shall continue tomorrow morning. One interesting thing about the aspect of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching, if you see, he addressed the leader, who's generally the most difficult to be transformed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transformed him, and just the news that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya accepted Vaishnavism, all Chele Chapate became Vaishnavas. You don't have to go and do device for the Chele Chapate. And he just addressed the, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena, Yadyata Chati Sheshta Tattadeva Taro Janaha Asayat Pramanam Krute Lokasat Anuvartate. That's a methodology here. If you can, it's not easy, it's extremely difficult to really transform the heart of such a learned scholar. You're a scholar, which means you're arrogant, you're proud. Nobody's better than I. And everyone has been praising you all this while, which means what? Your ego has been totally justified so far. But yet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did that. So that's the way we'll continue our South Indian Yatra tomorrow. It's 8:30. I would like to follow the time. Otherwise, अगर हम इसके अंदर चलेगा तो फिर टाइम का ऊपर नीचे पता नहीं चलेगा. Hard stop at 8:30. So thank you all for joining in. Before we close here, can I see you all are here around for the session? Con. And how many of you actually are reading TLC for the first time? Okay, everyone, time for Darshanati here of Vaishnavas. Quickly have that, and then we'll take this. How many of you are actually going to read TLC for the first time? I have a few quick questions for all of you here. So let's let everyone switch on their cameras in the meantime. Okay, team, you gotta be quick, huh? Switch on your cameras here. If you're not able to switch on, that's all right. I'll go ahead and ask my question here. You can give virtual answer, yes or no, like this. So how many of you are going to read TLC for the first time? अबे कभी तो ब्रेक दे दिया कर सोशल मीडिया पे क्या अपडेट दे रहा है क्या सोशल मीडिया पर टीएलसी पढ़ा है अच्छा सामने बैठा तो सामने हाथ उठा ना यार क्या रे वो इलाज करे उसका हाथ उठाओ टीएलसी पहली बार हाँ क्वेश्चन जवाब टीएलसी फर्स्ट टाइम ऑलराइट so majority of us are reading here of you are reading TLC for the first time. I don't know Chaitanya Charitamrita, anyone has maybe read any part of it or something? Some part of it. Some idea of Chaitanya Charitamrita. All right. ठीक है. And those of you who are here attending, at least I hope all of you have studied Bhagavad Gita. Because the levels of discussion are going to be high. This is not a book for the beginners. Can we have just a quick raise of hand, yes or no here? How many of you have read Bhagavad Gita? Those of you who have not read Bhagavad Gita, put your hand down. I'm talking about 700 verses, not Bhagavad Gita as it is title of the page. Okay, so like that. So because at least if we have had our discussion, then we have heard and discussed about Mayavad plenty of times, because it's going to become a little complicated as it goes. Philosophical part of this is pretty high. So I would not be able to really slow it down. It's a big book. We're going to go at a pace, add a little bit of comments here and there about it. Okay, good enough. So let's see. Journey to shuru hui hai. कितने जर्नी में रहते हैं because अभी तो स्टोरी लाइन है जब फिलॉसफी आएगी ना and if you can't connect with it it's like क्या चल रहा है कौन है माया अंकल ये मायावादी शून्यवादी कौन है ये सब तो फिर वैसा लगता है all right thank you all for joining in we'll continue our discussion tomorrow so tomorrow also we'll cover the storyline and then begins the introduction if I'm correct right introduction yes this is introduction would be again it will be a little simpler which is from Prabhupada's lecture. And then finally, teachings to Rupa Goswami. So setting the scene is happening right now. Just like Bhagavad Gita, the sweetest chapter of Bhagavad Gita is chapter 1. You have 100% attendance. By second chapter, suddenly it takes a dip by 25%. By the end of second chapter, then you have to really count how many are still surviving. And third chapter onwards, so Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, only speaker and host. And some volunteers, Karma Yoga. So chapter 1 teaches Rupa Goswami. I mean, those of you who have studied Nectar Devotion and all that, you're going to relish it. And if not, you'll have to capture. A good part is this is not Sanskrit. This is Ashtam to just Ayush say. जो जितना भी चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने रूप गोस्वामी सनातन गोस्वामी सिखाया उसका सारांश है. And they wrote elaborate books. So a lot of things from sadhana, shraddha to prema in a condensed form will be discussed here like that. Okay. Thank you all. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.